things with you.
Yeah, was there class yesterday?
Sorry?
Was there any class yesterday?
No, yesterday was not because of the timing things. We haven't conducted anything.
I missed yesterday, so I thought, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday we haven't done anything.
Dave, are you giving access to everybody for record?
Yeah. I'm giving one by one actually, so that is why it is taking time sometimes. All right. So I hope I have given everyone. Right. Just cross check, guys. Are you able to see the that recording button at the bottom of GoToMeeting?
Yes.
So cool. Whoever is not, just let me know in between so that I can before starting we can fix this quickly. All right, guys. So let me also start the recording from here, and we can quickly pick up from where we left. Right. So our today's topic will be. I'll try to cover two topics. One will be your IAM, which is the identity and access management, plus VPC. VPC is virtual private cloud. It is kind of a network, right, which we always require to secure our account into the AWS. And whether AWS, whether Azure, anything, you have to create your own network. You have to customize your network whenever we'll deal with the corporate customers. Okay. For our lab testing, we are fine go with the default VPC which created by AWS to start the process, start the flow and get learning. But initially, whenever we'll deal with the real-time customer or the corporate stuff, right, you have to customize, and as much as possible, you can secure the account for the configuration perspective. So we'll see what exactly this is and what are the benefits of the availability with the option. So if you go to VPC, that the VPC tab is available here into the all services. If you see there is a network and content delivery services. We are selecting here VPC. You can select from here. Then click on VPC. So this will be your account as well, the current status availability. Okay. So guys, there is a default VPC gateway which AWS providing us. Let's tag out as a default so that we can understand this one default. And also please make sure, guys, while you're creating the new one, please don't delete the default one. If you delete the default one, there could be a chances of crashing in network or something, because there are a lot of configuration which AWS has done for the default network. So better leave as it is and create your own network, and inside that you can able to create your server and as much as go with the more security, that level. Okay. So once you go with the default VPC dashboard, I'll discuss, guys, all these options, what exactly these are available, because each option are very important to like meet the security requirement for the customer and go with the best practices. Okay. So simple, once you click on launch VPC wizard, there are two options available. Let me give you the idea what exactly these are. So if you see this one, this option is saying VPC with single public subnet. Mean like of this, your instance run in a private isolated section, AWS cloud with direct access to the internet. Means this will be your public subnet and this will be your internet, so that you are going to host your website, and within private cloud people can able to access your abc.com or services which you are looking for. But this will give you only single subnet, because this is the by default option available. If you select this, this will give you an option where you can able to set up your like network and IP address ranges, which will going to create your inside the network. So if you see this one, let me open a new tab as well. So that will give us more idea what exactly we have currently. So if you click on default VPC, see this one 172.31.0.0/16. So this is our default VPC, but we got this CIDR value. CIDR value is, guys, your network ranges, right? There could be like 192.168.0.0 or 10.1.0.0, up to you. Like the classes you can able to select for your network. Generally, how we planning, right? I mean, with the companies and the organization, they have their network team specialist. Generally, when company really concerned about security, so they will give you the IP address range which you should follow. That is one scenario. But in other case also, you can able to go with the private ranges which will be available, 172.10 series and 192 series, which you can able to take it from further from it. And will not going to more with the subnetting, but I will give you some guidance, guys, how you can do it. So this is the subnet calculator, which I'm also like preferring always doing a calculation and like information of the IP addresses. So this will give us the more information about how we are going to collect it. 1 second. Right, this one. So if you see this, this IP address information netmarks is a calculator, which is by default available. So it's up to you how much IP address you're looking for, or the subnet mask you're looking for. So there are like you can say different calculations available in background, which we are doing generally while we are collecting with the IP addresses. Okay, so 192.168 is referring to the class C, and if I am going with the here, like let's say 10.0.0.1, same, I will say calculate. So this will give me the class A, right? And this will also give me the IP address. You can able to host net 254 host means your servers, which you can able to host inside that. Okay, I know this is totally different concept from the cloud computing or from the calculation, because this is something IP address calculating which we are doing since very long, whether it's a physical data center or whether it's a cloud, right? So both are options available, which we are referring always. Yeah.
Dave, in the real scenario, like, do we get the IP address from the client?
Generally, when you are dealing with high security, like kind of banks or something, so they definitely give you. Else, you can able to go with either class A, class B, and class C. There are 3 types of class available, which you can able to get it done for your information. So you can select either 3. See, there are 3 types of classes. Class D and class E are available for broadcasting, kind of public IP address, which we are not selecting. So we are only selecting 172.168 and your 192.168 and 10 series IP address. Between that, you can able to play and you can create your instances. So in real scenario also, people are like, or you can say management will give us an idea, hey, we are expecting around 100 servers, right? So based on that, you can able to do the calculation and you can decide the like the IP addressing according to that. Like we are going to do similar, but most of the time AWS is a managed services, so you don't have to like much worry about it. But at least when we are going with the facing of interview, so we should have the basic understanding. So that will kind of give them more confidence while you are creating a subnet like this. See this one. Let me cancel again. So I hope this one is understandable what exactly this is. So guys, this is the CIDR value. Inside that, we creating a subnet. Subnet means you are like you are giving different parts of IP addresses. Like this will be my main range 172.131.0.0/16. If I will go inside the subnet, they have created a multiple subnet for us. See this one, 172. This is the one range, this is the second range, but these are part of the same VPC, because in main we have the CIDR value. So if you see this, they are referring multi-AZ zone also, like high availability. So 1E, 1D, every zone has a different of subnets available. So if you're looking for to use all the subnets, then only you have to do like this splitting in the IP addressing. If you don't want to, generally we are not doing, generally we're going with 2 or 3 availability zone, that's it. So we can able to work it out. See this one. So let's go back again, that launch VPC wizard, and let's see if I'm going with the single one. See, so you will get a default IP address range which AWS is suggesting to you. right? Which will be your 10.0.0/16, and they will also give you one subnet inside that, which will be give you the 251 IP addresses available inside that. Okay, then you can select the availability zone. Let's say I'm selecting 1A here, which I'm looking for, and you can give the name as well. So what is the mean of, guys, public subnet here? Means your site can be accessible, and your inside this subnet servers will be exposed to the publicly, right? So this will be your public subnet. But generally, when we are going with the real-time scenario, we are not doing with public subnet. We always preferring to create a complete infrastructure into the private subnet only, right? So how we'll do, we can able to see here. Just give the VPC name here, testing lab. Or, okay, guys, and one more thing, VPC is absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything. But whenever we're going to create a VPN tunnel, that will be chargeable. So I'll show you how to create dedicated tunnel as well between your cloud infrastructure to physical data center. Okay, now another option what we have available, I'm not changing, guys, anything into the IP addressing. It is fine. 10 series is good for me. I can able to utilize that. Okay, now if you go here, that service endpoint, see there are so service endpoint, what exactly this is, guys? Service endpoint we creating between VPC to like the services which we are not part of VPC. Means there are, guys, three services available. One will be your S3, okay, and other one will be your DynamoDB, right? This one. So DynamoDB and your S3 are not part of VPC. Means they will not be able to like join the VPC. That is why AWS is giving us the option. You can create endpoint and select your subnet whichever you want to have access. So what will be happen if I'll choose this endpoint between S3 to my this VPC? So I don't have to create access inside this subnet to S3. They will automatically get, because I have already created an endpoint between S3 to this subnet, right? So guys, this is something the endpoint you are creating between two services, like source to source. You are giving access. That's it. In only that case we require. We generally using this endpoint very kind of often whenever there is a private connectivity required. When you don't want to give your instance even internet access, like you are creating private subnet and you don't have internet access inside, then go with the endpoint, create simple and attach with your subnet. They will able to give you access between VPC to your S3. Now what is VPC, right, guys? VPC is just a network boundary. But inside that boundary, you're going to create your multiple EC2 instances. So whichever EC2 is part of the VPC, they will be able to access S3, right? Guys, try to understand the integration, right, kind of cycle, what exactly we are looking for. Let me try to give some more information. Maybe that will helpful to understanding. Like what we are looking for here, I mean, the things, like let's say this is your VPC, okay, which will be more in private, where you don't have access to internet. You can't like configure S3. You can't able to access S3 over the internet inside this. So you will create one endpoint inside with your S3 services. And let's say S3 is residing here, right? And you have already given a connectivity between VPC to S3. Now, whichever instance your EC2 will be part of this VPC, right? They will be able to access this S3 by default. You don't have to worry about the connection. You don't have to worry about the access, because you already created endpoint between your subnet. Let's say if any one instance behind the subnet has been created, they will not be able to access because they are not part of this same subnet. This is what exactly we are trying to understand here, the benefit of endpoints. Okay, now let me go back. We don't need an endpoint, that is fine. An enabled DNS hostname is something, guys, whenever you will create the EC2 instance, by default you will see their IP address .amazon.aws.amazon.com, right? So that is kind of the connectivity with DNS automatically get created. So it is just an option. You don't have to like kind of by default it will yes, and whenever you will create instance, you will get IP address plus the DNS name. So generally DNS require when the developer are doing host entry in their like the host file, that case only, else your IP address will be also workable, right? The last option is, guys, that will be default or dedicated. Again, default will be, guys, shared technology, because AWS is always working with a shared responsibility and shared hardware. So whenever I'm going to create this, guys, VPC, like the network range, this is something going to host somewhere in background hardware, right? The hardware will be your the router, which we can say, right? And that router, you can able to either go with the dedicated. If you go with dedicated, charges will be extra, but that will be more secure. Generally banks and the critical agencies are going to follow this, right? But for the basic understanding and by default also, we always going with the default until unless it's a requirement from the management. Okay, so let's create this VPC. This will create subnet, internet gateway, and enabling DNS, VPC, whatever steps you have selected. I'll show you what exactly it has done by this wizard, which we have done. Okay. Now, if you go there, there is a testing lab VPC has been created, which we just created. But if you go to in subnet, inside that, let me select our VPC, which we are looking for. Okay. So our VPC is, one second. So once you go to VPC, there's a testing which we have created, and ID is D7. Let me check where it is. Yeah, now it is showing, correct? So let's go to testing lab. Now, if you see, guys, if you click on subnet, means this range we got, and this one 10.16. Inside this range, I got my subnet, right? This one. Now, if I will create an instance, guys, that will be part of this subnetting, and they can able to access the services. But I want to create more subnet, right? Because I'm just this time looking for 1A, but I want to have 1B, 1D, up to you for the more high availability. Okay, so you can give the name here, like the what tags you want to, like, so I can give testing private. Okay, yes, D7 is the same one I'm looking for. Now preference you can give this time 1B. Okay, now guys, you have to give a range here. That range is going to be part of the subnet. Okay, one range already AWS has suggested us. Let me give you the idea also. Just a second. See this one. Like, just guys, try to compare two VPCs. That's it. You will be able to get more idea. So like this, we have created 10 series. AWS already having the 130, 172, 31/16, right? Now, if you go to subnet here, inside this subnet, I have a multiple like ranges available, which AWS has been created, and you are getting multiple IP address according to that. So if I will create more subnet like this, I can be able to have more IP address on different ranges, right? Like if I'm looking for here 10.0.1.0/20, just a moment, 0, 1, So we are doing here 10.0.0.1/16. Okay. So 0.0.1/16 I'm looking for. Okay. Calculate. So we are getting this IP address like 65,534. So we want to split this actually. Okay, so one second. Right, let's see how many IP addresses we are getting with 28 subnet. So this one having 11 IP address. Like, so guys, the reason behind why we are doing this, because generally what is happening, we have dev environment and we have like stage environment, we have production environment. So we can get the idea with the network calculation where we can expect like, hey, in dev, we are expecting 11 machines or like 10 machines or like 20 machines. So based on that, we're doing a calculation. In our scenario also, like in physical data center, we have a good network team. So we generally are going through with their process and they're providing us the complete information of the subnetting. So we're following that. In case you are dealing with the dedicated network, like the physical data center connectivity, which we are looking for here as well. So same thing. Else, you can go with the default that the settings which we are available with the VPC, where you can able to create like multiple subnets according to your requirement, right? Generally, when we are dealing with very critical environment, then only the IP addressing is more required, like where you are not going to waste more IP addressing, right? Instead of you can use like 5,000, you can use like 251 IP address with a single subnet, right? In that case only. But if we'll see that more options here, like we have created now, what there are multiple options available, right? The apart from this subnetting, which we can able to see in understanding. So if you go to VPC here, which we have created, this one testing. So if you go here, that is the, guys, these are the flow logs available. So what is the flow logs available? Flow logs mean is actually kind of more debugging into your network, right? Means, let's say in a real scenario, you have created some EC2 instance and you are connecting with some third-party vendor, right, which is outside the AWS. So definitely they have to allow your network, then only you can able to reach out their network, right? So you have provided everything, but still you are not be able to access their network. In that case, you can enable this create flow logs, and flow logs will be give you the in and out traffic from your VPC to outside the AWS boundary or whichever your destination. So guys, 10 minutes interval is by default, which is free. But if you go with the 1 minute, then only it is chargeable. And destination, you can either go with the send CloudWatch or either go with S3. best practice will be go with CloudWatch only, because CloudWatch will give you guys very nice dashboard. Into the dashboard, you can able to see the real-time logs as well. So that will give you the idea where my traffic is going to accept or reject or all. It's a failure, right? Kind of. So that case, you can able to collect the information and share with the vendor. But VPC flow log should be enabled in real time where you are dealing with the production. So kind of that will be more debugging into the network side area. So where you can able to see where my traffic is actually going out by my VPC or not. If it is going by outside my VPC, then vendor is accepting or vendor is rejecting. In that case, you can able to get the idea from here, and you can share the kind of logs or screenshot with the vendor so that they can able to understand like where is the fault, where they are able to access or not, where they are receiver or not, so they can able to fix the problem. So that is why flow log should be enabled all the time. Now go to subnet. We have created here guys 2 subnet. One is by default and one is we have created for the privating. Now if you go to route table, what is the route table and what is mean of that? Let me give you an idea here. So if you go to here and yeah, right. So guys, this one is we have created that the subnet which is by default, and if you see that add is like subnation, there is a one route added which is guys by default 0.0.0/0, right? Just try to understand the difference guys, what exactly this is. So if any request will go by our private subnet, so guys we created 2, right? One is private by default and one private we just created by the manual. Okay, so if you see here 0.0, this is the routing table which we have added by default because it's a private subnet. And guys, this is the IGW, internet gateway. Means if any instance will be part of this subnet 9.3 will be automatically gets the internet plus automatically able to send the traffic outside, and anyone can able to access my instance based on my providing access availability, right? So this will be your private subnet. Now see the difference. If you go here into the routing table, guys, there is no route table added with the 0.0 rule. Means if anyone going to create in other subnet which we have created, inside that there is no one be able to access the internet, and this will be your totally private subnet. No one will be even going to touch your server, like your app server, like your database server, like your critical servers. You can keep inside the private subnet. That is the private and public concept which we are dealing and creating the while subnetting, we're deciding what exactly we are looking for. Okay, now if you see here like the route propagation, it's kind of which is you have some excluded IP address, right? The virtual gateways, which will be your for the VPN tunneling. So I'll let you know what exactly this is once we'll create the VPN tunnel just after this. Okay, now main reason to check guys, the main way is check to your multiple subnets. If you've seen the account right somewhere in a real time also, you can very first go to route table, and if you see the route table, there is a route added of 0.0. That means where exactly it is going with the IGW, that means it is definitely a public subnet. If there is a routing added but with some other subnet, that will be your private subnet, right? So but again, most of the time guys, question will come how we can able to access internet inside the private subnet when there is no route added. So in this condition guys, there is a network gateways, right, which we are creating NAT gateways. So NAT gateway will give you the connectivity between internet and your subnet, and it is not going to expose your private subnet to the public. Instead of you are giving only access for your Windows update and patching and your requirement daily basis, right? Now if you go to internet gateway guys, by default there is a like one internet gateway which is automatically created and attached with your public subnet. So you don't have to create another internet gateway which we'll call IGW, right? So we have one IGW available, which we are looking for, and that is created here and automatically attached with our VPC subnet, right? Now, there is egress only internet gateway. So guys, there are two types of network, egress and ingress. Ingress is something you are allowing the things from internet to your server, and egress is something called you are allowing from your side to go outside only. So this is new feature which AWS has been created. You can create, guys, your egress gateway, which will give you the make sure of the attachment, kind of like let's say I have a Windows machine. I want to access the internet. Means from your machine you are sending something out, right? Egress. So that will be only allowed. But if you're expecting some request from outside to your AWS, that won't be able to success because you don't have in and out gateway, which will be your IGW from here, internet gateway, right? That will be your by default. But we are looking for another option, which is egress only internet gateway. So generally people are referring this also to getting a more security or kind of, very smooth environment. You can able to go with this also. But again, guys, this is chargeable. If you're creating another internet gateway or egress gateway, that will give you the extra cost according to that. But this option is available. Just keep in mind so that while creating network or while creating the diagram or while explaining to the network guy, right, or interviewer, you can able to give all these options like these are available, so that we can able to have the benefit of it. Okay. Now, guys, another is DHCP. DHCP is Dynamic Host Control Protocol. It's something called automation, which is AWS done for us. Means if you see this, my terminal, let me give you that if I'm doing ifconfig, so guys, see, I have some IP address, this one, like 192.168.0.101. So how I am getting this IP address? Like whenever I'm shut down my laptop, powering off, or I'm starting next day, so definitely automatically I get some new IP address, which will be your private network. So why I'm getting automatically? Because there is a DHCP set automatically, right? So, but in manual, like physical data center, guys, we generally having the DHCP server, and we maintaining IP addressing there, and we doing the automation according to the process. But in AWS, we don't have to worry about it because AWS is managing for us the DHCP, like the control protocol automatically. So this is just for information. Now, guys, another option is Elastic IP, right? So you remember whenever we creating EC2 instance, we always getting one public IP to doing SSH or accessing our website or doing RDP. You have multiple options available, right? But that the public IP which we are getting by default, there is a drawback. If you do the shutdown of your machine, that IP address is dynamic and it will be get changed automatically. So whenever, guys, it will be going to change, your developer were having the issues with your connectivity, because might be they are referring the public IP into their host file entry. So just to avoid that problem, AWS is giving us the option you can reserve the static IP, which will be your Elastic, guys. Okay, so guys, this is the one IP only, this is the one service only where AWS is saying if you're using, that is free, but if you're not using, that will be chargeable. Means of that, let's say, see this one, if I'm allocating this IP address, right, Amazon pool, definitely allocate. So see, I got one IP address 5483. So guys, this is something static IP address I got. Now I have a rights, I can go and attach this with any like my running machine. I don't have anyone, but I can attach with my any EC2 instance. See this one. But let's say I missed out to attach, and this IP address keep residing in my account. That will be chargeable because I'm not using, but you have allocated and reserved something without use. That will be chargeable. But if you are using with your instance, that is totally free. So better, if you have the IP addressing Elastic available, you can release immediately. If you are not using, then it is free of cost. Okay. Now go to endpoints. I'll give you example also, guys, what is Elastic and what is dynamic. Once we'll create the instances in more further, so you can see the differences between that. Endpoint, guys, you know already. I show you the process from there. what exactly the endpoints are available and which service are available, so that you can able to see from here. If I'm looking with the only S3, so that will be able to give me, I want to create S3 to like connection between my VPC. See, test lab I can select. So guys, this will going to ask you which like subnet. So I can select this one, not public. I want to create the connectivity between private only, because I'm not going to give any internet access to my AWS account, like this private subnet. So I can able to select this. Okay. Now, once you select, you can able to get the access details, this policy by default, simple create the endpoint. This is chargeable, but this will able to give you the entry. See, between allow access by user services within VPC using credential from AWS account, any resource in the AWS service, all policy means this one. There is another service IAM, which we just discussed in today's session. So we have to start in IAM. You have a user available, and if you are going to give access that user to S3, and my S3 already having the endpoint with my like the VPC, I can able to access without any like the other restriction. That is the benefit of endpoint. Okay. Now, let me cancel this. I'm not creating, I'm just showing you guys all the options available. Okay. Endpoint services same. We can able to see that what are the endpoint services available, and you can able to manage with the filters and kind of NLB, or you have a different services available. You can able to see the names from here, which created. We don't have any ones. That is why it is not showing. Now, if you go to Net Gateway is something, guys, I have mentioned, like that will be your network associated transmission. It is something called which you are looking in private connectivity, right? You can select your subnet. Let's say I'm looking with my private, because understand, guys, in public already we have a route table and IGW, right? So I don't have to attach there, because I'm looking only internet connectivity for my private subnet, so that I can keep my database, I can app server get updated, and they will be part of the safer side. Okay. So guys, you can create one public IP. See, it will also ask you elastic allocation IP address. So you can simple allocate new IP address, and you can create a net gateway. Once you will create a net gateway, you have to go and attach the traffic through net gateway. Like, see, let me create this. So guys, I got this net gateway here. So this will give attachment. One second. And if you see now into the elastic IP, same, you must have one elastic IP get created, this one. And this is already allocated, so you don't have to worry about it, because this is using with your net gateway. Okay. And if you go to your subnet now, that's the private one, which we are looking for. And into the routing table, from here, this one, yeah, this one is without that. So you can create a route here, because I want to transfer my all traffic. Simple 0.0.0/0/0. Okay. Now you can select your internet, net gateway, which we just created. Now what we are doing, guys, it is mean of I want to transfer my private subnet traffic through this net gateway, because I don't want to expose anything. If you want to expose, guys, there is the IGW by default available internet gateway, so that you can able to get secure your more environment. Okay. I hope this is clear, guys. I'm not going to attach, I'm just showing you what exactly these are options available. Okay. Simple. Let me delete also this one, because quite chargeable. So I don't want to pay extra, but you should have, guys, this understanding and the knowledge, so that will more understanding while you are giving mostly with the network terms of interview. Another option, guys, is very nice. That is peering connection. Peering is something you can see now, right? So if you go to VPC here, let me show you what exactly this is. So if you see guys, this one, there is a 172 range and 10 series range. Means we can understand these are totally different IP address and kind of like totally different ranges. So how they can able to communicate between that, right? Because there are a lot of time guys, you will see the challenge. Management will ask you, hey, create multiple IP address ranges or multiple subnets for us. One is for dev, one is for QA, one is for UAT. But now sometimes there is a requirement when I want to like doing a connection between my UA, QA and the UAT. Okay, they can able to communicate. In that case, you by default you will be not be able to allow guys. You have to create a VPC peering. Peering is something C like this only. Is very basic option. So I can say VPC test. Right now will be your requester. Requester guys, I can say I have two VPC, so I can just give like this default one totally different range. Now guys, acceptor will be my testing lab only. And guys, there is a good option available. You can connect your peering between one account to another account also. That is also option available. Only in that case, you have to provide your account ID. How we can get account ID guys? From here. So if you click on support center, there is a 12 digit of account ID which you can able to use for the communication between. See this one. This is your account ID. You can able to give there, and after that there will be a creation of process will be started. Okay, means multiple account can also able to access their each resources inside that based on your peering allowed which you're looking for. Even cross region as well. Cross region means, see this one, you have a one data center running in North Virginia, one is running in Ohio. So you can able to do the peering between that. That option also you have available. Okay, now I'm looking with my account only. So I can say my acceptor will be testing and another VPC. So if you see guys, this is the 10 series range and this is 172, totally different. By default, they can't talk, but we are going to allow this. So if you create peering connection, it will be give you the access, right? But again, chargeable. So we should have a knowledge so that we can able to use whenever it required, according to the uses. Okay. Guys, I know these terms are totally new for the kind of first time hearing concept, but still I really want to like you to go through with a more documentation and more videos on that, so that you guys will be able to get idea what exactly this is and why we are going to use. But at least in coming sessions, right, we're going to use all the time private subnetting. We always going to use the private connectivity between AWS and our database and web server, so that you can able to get more idea and more hands-on into it. Okay, I'm not going to create more confusion here because we have more critical topics after that, because we are going to create your VPN tunnel as well. So I'm not going to do it today for the more, just to give you more clarity. So guys, just go through with these options one by one and create the things there. And if you see the dashboard, launch VPC dashboard, there are more options available. See, we're just going through one subnet. There is a one more, which we actually did just now, right? We created one public and we created one manual private, and we created netting between that. Then only can communication will be happen like this. We did this just now. There is a one public subnet, netting between done, the private and public can talk, but privately. There is another one which we will do tomorrow. That will be your internet, then public subnet and the private, which is VPC. And guys, this will be your physical data center, like your office, like your home. You can restrict only corporate data center can able to access these. No one will be able to come from outside. Other one is something was like the private connectivity mode between data center to VPC only. So these are the options available, which we can able to go with by default. Like you can manage the more on a security side. Okay, I hope guys not too much confusion, but still you can come back and just go through with the process so that we can able to clear with the more queries. I'm deleting actually because I don't want to keep this. We'll do tomorrow again so that more clarities will come to discussing the more options available. Okay, so I'm just clarifying whatever things we created here instead of just leaving as a default. Right, guys, please let me know any concern I should have. So, and you can like raise the queries tomorrow with more practicing. So we'll discuss about more options available. But still, let me know, please.
Unmuted.
Okay.
Super.
So Dave,
I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Sorry.
So tomorrow, you're gonna send out a new link for the meeting ID, or should we use the same one? Because I'm new on
that will be same all the time.
Same all the time? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Right. Yes, Sangamitra, that if config will give you the like configuration of your IP address into the Linux or Mac. IP config, if you do in Windows, then only you can able to get the private IP address output. If you want to see public IP address, simple go in Google and type what is my IP. That will give you the ISP IP address also from your laptop.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. I can see more people. Guys, who else is join later? Please let me know. I can see a few names. No issues. That's fine, guys. Just go through with the recording and Viral and Mikin for you. Like, just go through with the recording, please, and make sure you have AWS account tomorrow. Created like free tier, so that will be good for the coming sessions and the practical labs. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Let's catch you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dev.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.